Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today. This is Taliesin McKnight, and today I'm going to share my thoughts on curses. Today I'm going to talk about my viewpoint on curses, and I'll also talk about the various opinions out there, different ways of looking at it so that you can come to your own conclusions. And I will also talk about some of the issues in dealing with curses and how to deal with them, and also dealing with their removal. So I would like to remind my viewers that new videos come out every Saturday morning. So if you enjoy my work, be sure and hit the subscribe button and check out my videos every Saturday morning. Also, another quick reminder is that all of my videos are free for everyone. I want my videos to be free for all seekers, so that many people charge money for books, selling books, and many people charge for workshops and things like that. I do not. I want all of my information to be free. That being said, I do put a lot of work into this. It is a job in a sense. So if you would like to support my work, it is a choice. If you would like and choose to support my work, then below in the description box, there is a link to my Patreon account. But again, that is a choice. For those that choose not to or have no interest, that's fine. I provide free information for seekers. So like I said, today I'm going to talk about curses. Now, this is a very controversial and emotionally charged subject. Many people will easily get offended by this topic. I am here to provide real information. I'm here to provide real information on occultism. I am not here to save people's feelings. There is lots of information already out there. People can find information on this topic. So my purpose here is to provide accurate information on all aspects of magic, so that people that want to be informed can be informed, whether it is for their own protection from curses or whether they have negative intent. There is information out there for people. So this is not to arm people. That is not my intention with this video. My intention is to help people. Do with that what you will. So first of all, what is a curse or a hex? A curse or a hex is basically an attack that you give on a spiritual dimension or a psychic plane. A psychic attack, in a sense. Now, in the history of magic and occultism, this has been going on since the very dawn of civilization. This has always been an aspect of magic from very many different traditions, from Chinese, Taoist sorcery, all the way through Burmese and Indian, the different practices in East Asia, practices from Northern Europe, from Babylon, Greece, Egypt. This has always been an aspect of magic. So virtually any tradition you go to in the world, you will find curses. Now, most people, the most popular opinion in the occult community is that karma will get you back and that you should never do it under any circumstances. Other people are of the opinion that it can be justified, that since we have a legal system, a system of judges, police officers, a prison system, since we could sue someone for damages because they damage our car, or if someone steals or robs a house, they go to prison, that we already have man-made justice in the form of a legal system. So some people would argue that what is the difference between having some external authority figure dole out justice and us do it? Because either way, it's human forms of justice. If you're against human forms of justice, why not scrap the entire legal system? So I'm not saying that that's my opinion, but that is another viewpoint. Some people are of this opinion. In my own personal opinion, I think curses are best avoided. I have 3 reasons for this. First of all, they can backfire. Whether or not you consider it karma, some people have a different opinion as to why they backfire, that there could be a residual energy behind, or that the particular forces you work with could have a response. So there are different theories as to why these things can backfire, but virtually in every system of magic, there is the belief that such destructive works can backfire, whether it's considered from karma or not. Some view it as dealing with explosives, you might get burned. Another reason that I personally prefer not to work with these types of things myself is just the ethical aspect of things. Me personally, I think that there are more important things in the bigger picture from a larger, more evolved perspective than just our own selfish ego desires. And thirdly, another reason that I personally prefer not to engage in this type of thing is that it can create a war, a back and forth. So I generally think it's a bad idea to curse someone that is a magic practitioner, because if you curse someone that's a magic practitioner, they could throw it back at you. You can create a war. Or even if the other person is not a practitioner, they could pay someone that might be more experienced than you that could throw it back at you. So that is something to consider. I personally choose not to work with this type of stuff that much, which is probably good for my enemies, because I personally tend to have more of a positive, constructive approach. I personally try to focus on constructive things. But like I said, I'm not here to moralize. I'm here to provide information, and do with that what you will. So there are many different forms of curses, and there are methods to get rid of them. So before you learn how to do something, you should learn how to fix it. I think the first step is to learn how to get rid of things. So what do you do if you think you've been attacked? If you think that you've been attacked, you should do a spiritual cleansing. Quite simply, when you're under psychic attack, there is a negative energy that is affecting you. It's seen a lot in a lot of magic traditions. For example, in Hoodoo and various African traditions, it's viewed that a curse is a lot like a sickness. It is something that infects. The way to get rid of a curse, to break a curse, is to do a spiritual cleansing. The main method to do this is a spiritual bath. I have made videos on this topic, so I really don't have time to go into the method here, because I've talked about it elsewhere. If you feel that you've been cursed and you want to get rid of it, go to the search box and look up my video. Look up Taliesin McKnight and look up my video, How to Remove a Curse or Hex. I have made videos on this. Basically, a spiritual cleansing is a bath in which you can use sea salt and various cleansing herbs, and the recitation of prayers. It's popular in Hoodoo to use Psalm 37 if you're familiar with that tradition, or comfortable with it, or you could use something else if you're pagan or whatever. And the cleansing bath with, let's say, sea salt and white sage, hyssop, and rue could be used to wipe down the body and pushing out the negative energies. This can be done for a number of days. There are uncrossing candle works. There are all kinds of things. So the main method of getting rid of is through spiritual cleansings. Like I said, there are egg cleansings. That's popular. If you go type in my video, How to Remove a Curse, and you will see the full method. So if you feel you've been magically attacked, you can remove it that way. Or you can do a reversal, which is to take what was thrown at you and throw it back. Reversals are pretty cool methods. Basically, you take a candle, a black candle, cut the top off, carve a new wick on the bottom. The symbolism is turning around. Carve their name backwards into the candle, burn it on a mirror with reversing oil. I made a video on how to reverse a curse or hex. Again, I don't have time to explain the whole method here. If you want to go further into that, then I encourage you to look up my other video, how to remove a curse or hex. So, just to digress for a moment, I really do apologize that this is kind of a rushed and quick video. I really apologize, but I had like a back injury, and I just don't have a lot of time and all of this, and I've been really busy. So I apologize that this video is kind of rushed, and I'm in a hurry. I apologize, everyone. This is kind of a rushed video. Usually I do better. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. So really, if you're going to work with something like this, you need to be aware of the ethical issue. If you've weighed the ethics and you decide you want to do it anyways, then you need to think of the backfiring issue. The most popular opinion is that karma will get you back. So be sure that you're ready to reap the consequences. It may backfire. Even if it's not karma, it may backfire for different reasons. There are many theories as to why these things can backfire. Many different traditions, even traditions that don't believe in karma, still realize that these things can backfire. What are one of the ways to avoid backfiring? One of the things that can cause a backfire is residual negative energy. So after you do a curse or destructive work, it's very important that you get rid of any spell remains away from your property, away from your home or house. So if you do any kind of destructive work, be sure to get the spell remains, I mean everything. Remaining wax, ashes, incense ashes, anything in the spell. You need to remove of the spell remains away from your home and property. You don't want that residual energy around that can infect you. You do not bury the spell remains in your yard. You get it away from your house. After you do any kind of destructive work, you're going to need to clean the ritual area. You're going to need to sweep it, wipe all the residue away physically. You'll need to sprinkle it with blessed water, incense it at the least. Then you're going to have to do a cleansing on yourself. The same method for removing a curse you need to do on yourself after you do a working. You need to do a spiritual bath or something. So whenever you're done, as a rule, cleanse the area, get rid of all the evidence, all the spell remains, cleanse the area, cleanse yourself. You need to do a full cleansing. You don't want that negative energy hanging around, or it could backfire just for that reason. And that's universally seen to be the case in Hoodoo. In Hoodoo, most practitioners of Hoodoo, some do, most do not believe in karma. But they do believe that backfires can happen from having some of the residual energy. So in Hoodoo, it's almost universally understood after you do a curse, you do a cleansing of the area and yourself. Get rid of all the stuff away from your house. So like I said, to remove it, do a cleansing. And if you do something, again, do a cleansing. Some people believe that backfiring could have to do with the formula that you used. Today in modern occultism, we have a bias entirely based around the consciousness model. There is the view that everything's internal. It's all about your belief, about your feeling. It's all about the inside. In more ancient forms of magic, it was more common to focus on externals, the proper formula. I personally think that it's arrogant. It's pure arrogance to say that we know for a fact what the causes of these things are. These are just theories. They're constructs. We don't know. I personally think that some things are internal and external. I do think to an extent externals matter. so that you should keep a magical record. If you notice something backfiring, you may need to look back at what you did. And if you do something that does not at least appear to backfire, then maybe that's something you can repeat again and it not backfire. So that as a method of science, in a sense, you have repeated results. So what are some of your options for dealing with the bully or magical attack? Again, I am not here to arm people to hurt other people. That is not my intention. My only intention is to provide information because there's already a rich plethora of information out there. So at the very least, not really a curse, but let's say you just want someone to leave you alone and not hurt you. So this isn't really a curse, this is just to stop someone from harming yourself or even harming themselves, is a binding. Now a binding can mean two different things. A binding could mean to bind two lovers or bind people together to keep someone from breaking up with you or leaving you. That is not what I'm talking about. Here when I refer to a binding, I'm talking about binding someone's actions. So you can take, let's say, a pillowcase, cut out a gingerbread man shape, sew up the edges, leave the top open to stuff with herbs and personal effects. This is a poppet. You can create a little cloth doll. You could tie their hands behind their back. You can pop them in the freezer as a freezer spell, which again is about freezing your actions. You could stick them in a block of ice, basically. Freeze them in some water into ice. So basically, magic and spells are a symbolic representation of your desire. So the first thing to understand about magic is that spells are a symbolic representation of your desire. Emotions are the fuel of magic. Thought is the steering wheel. So whatever you focus your mind on directs the energy, but the fuel itself is your emotions. In this case, in destructive work, it would be anger. Anger is the fuel. Controlled thought is what steers the direction. So bindings could just restrict someone's actions. You're not really hurting them. You're keeping them from hurting you. Freezer spells. Again, I don't have time to do all the to go into all the details. You can look these up yourself. Freezer spells, bindings. If you want to get rid of someone, hot foot. Now, hot foot powder and hot foot works are very powerful. You need to be aware that this is not a toy. You need to be aware that there are consequences of your actions. I've had many people message me that hot foot workings were more powerful than they had expected. It doesn't just get rid of someone. Usually it's like a form of exile. Usually with hot foot powders, they lose their job, they lose their family, they lose their friends, and then they move off somewhere. This is a serious thing. You need to weigh the consequences. Hot foot powders are to get rid of someone, get rid of an enemy or whatever, but it can do a lot more than that. It could really ruin someone's lives. If you want more details on how to do these things, you can create your own spells. Just remember that magic is a symbolic representation of a desire. A symbolic representation of a desire. You can cut out someone's picture, write their name on their full name on the back, birth date, that's a magical link. You can stick pins in it, you can burn it, you can make a doll, smash it, take an item they owned, smash it. There are all kinds of things. Let's say someone gave you a necklace. You could kind of pound that with a hammer into a little man figure. And then you can bind it in black thread, stick it in the freezer, bury it under a thorny plant, or stick it inside a habanero pepper, sew it up, burn it. There are all kinds of things you can do. Just remember that under the principle of sympathetic magic, whatever you do, magic is a symbolic representation of a desire. Again, you should keep a magical record, see what works, what doesn't work, through experimentation. And always remember that emotions are the fuel of magic. Thought is what directs and is the steering wheel. So again, I've said this already, I am not here to encourage people to do bad stuff. That is not my intention. I make this video with the best of intentions, which is that since there's already information out there, I want to provide real information for people. If you feel that you've been cursed, do a cleansing. I made a video. Go to the search box, type in Taliesin McKnight, how to remove a curse or hex, and you'll see how to do this, how to do a reversal. I've made videos on how to get rid of these things. There are really bad, destructive things out there. In Hoodoo, there are ways to summon the dead against your enemies. You can use graveyard dirt to summon the dead against your enemies. There are all kinds of things that you can do. Cursing powders often include things like rattlesnake skin, crushed up spiders or crushed up poisonous spiders, hot peppers, things with a noxious, odious smell, vinegar, things that are noxious, things like that are often used for hexing powders. Again, just realize that things have consequences. I'm not trying to encourage people to do bad things. But the main thing to keep in mind, realize that there are consequences to your actions. Realize the ethical concerns. And if you must do it, then realize that you need to do a cleansing afterwards. You need to cleanse the ritual area. You need to cleanse yourself. So I try my best not to encourage people to do bad stuff. So this is probably as close as you're going to get to me explaining curses. I don't like talking about these things, but I want to give information, real information on occultism. So take this for what it is. This is probably as close as you're going to get me explaining this topic. But anyways, I've never really made a video on this. I need to. So here it is, y'all. This is my quick video, my thoughts on curses, hexes, and destructive magic. So again, I don't like to encourage people to do bad things, but to be fully unbiased and to present the information, here it is. Take it for what it's worth, y'all. Once again, new videos come out every Saturday morning. If you enjoy my work, then be sure and hit that subscription button. The new videos come out every Saturday. If you want to support my work, go to my Patreon, and have a great day, everyone.